Michelle. Hello, Michelle. Okay, I guess you're not there. Seems that because it just went away. Oh, man, source, that's true. It was on that.
Desmond,
Oh, hello.
how you doing?
Finding you.
I'm all right, man. Desmond, did I tell you it was good catching up with you that other night, man?
It was good. Hold on a second. Let me turn the TV off. Okay. It was good. What?
It was good catching up with you in person that other night.
That was necessary. I think I missed a meeting you had, and it's because I wasn't. I received the email, but I didn't pay a close enough attention to it, which is bad. So you had a planning meeting, so I will be quiet while you talk about the plans.
No, Desmond, you don't ever have to be quiet, man.
Well, no, I have to be quiet because I don't know what was planned. You see,
No.
it
What was planned is
people
what we're
get
going to be
annoyed
doing.
enough with me when I talk. The whole thing is that if you know what you're talking about, you can talk, but if you don't know, you should be quiet. So I'm gonna be quiet.
Man, don't be quiet, Desmond. This is about public safety. You know as much as anyone else.
What I know and what is effective is another thing. But did you hear? My wife told me something. I went out today to get vaccinated. She told me a woman was shot dead with a stray bullet on Fulton Street and Brooklyn Avenue today.
What I heard is that she got shot in the leg. I don't know about details about her passing away. I can't speak on that for.
Okay, well, I your version I like better. I like your version better, but this is what my wife told me, and she's not prone to exaggerating about stuff like that. She that's nothing that you want to exaggerate about.
Yeah.
Um, so and then she told me somebody was in the community was hit by a car and died.
Yes, that's correct.
And it happened somewhere right around here. Oh, Schenectady and Lincoln Place.
Correct. That's what I got a notice on.
Okay, well, I didn't see the notice, but I when I went to get my vaccinations, I was a block away from there. I was on Utica in Lincoln Place. Did it happen today?
Um, the 23rd.
That's yesterday. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
There was one on the 23rd, motor vehicle fatality, and one on the 21st, motor vehicle fatality.
Where was the 21st at?
Schenectady and Lincoln, that was one. And then the other one was Schenectady and Eastern Parkway. Schenectady and Eastern Parkway was the 23rd, and the 21st was Schenectady and
So
Lincoln on
so
the
why is that
21st.
okay? So the reason that corner is so hot is because there's always a tremendous backup of traffic because of the grocer there, and there's always vehicles double parked, and a lot of them are not people shopping, but people offloading. And then you have the school across the street from there. And so and when I walked past there and the traffic, which is two lanes, all had to become one lane going back from St. John's Place.
Yeah, that from St. John's over to Eastern Parkway on that Schenectady is really concerning.
Okay, so what are you going to do? Because you deal with Rob. Um, if I talk to Rob, I'm going to not have a pleasant conversation.
Well, there's the committee's made up of several people, so hopefully whoever else have concerns should definitely speak up other than yourself and me. But it will be brought up again to Rob on that.
I don't recall it being brought up at all, but this is what I'm saying. is that Rob tends to um, look for things that benefit his community more than, this is my opinion, more than the other communities. And I confronted him once with that. And basically, what he said was that it was our community's job to advocate more effectively for ourselves. But you are the vice chair. And so that basically comes down to you. Because when I asked him why are we not having meetings, he said basically because I'm the king. He said, well, that's what Mr. Monderson did, and that's what I'm doing, and I don't see any reason to have it. I feel it's more effective in the small committees.
Well, Desmond, that can always be brought up as to a vote because it's a committee. All committees are of members. The
Nobody up until now has seen fit to, no one says anything about the frequency of committees.
Desmond, that's not true because that has been brought up though at that specific committee. But we are meeting tomorrow, and that could be brought up, and if it needs to be put up as a vote, let it be put up as a vote though.
Okay.
Because it's not a dictatorship. No committee is a dictatorship.
Well, that's kind of how Rob expressed it. He
Well,
said, because I
well,
asked him, I said it's unilateral. I said, why is it being unilaterally agreed to? His first response was that, hear me
well,
out. His first response was that it was Mr. Monderson's way of doing business, which doesn't make it right. And then he said, well, that's because I've delegated things in committees.
what we'll do with that, it should be brought up on that committee, and I think it should be voted on. You
That
know,
committee is the entire committee.
okay, that'll be brought up at that committee though, Desmond. That's where it needs to be brought up on. Yes, and I'm co-chair on it, but again, it needs to be brought up on the committee, and all committees are dictated on agreement majority rules. The chair directs it, but it's not a dictatorship. No committee is a dictatorship.
Okay.
And
Um,
that
Someone
also
else is
comes
in the
up.
room with us, but go ahead.
Well,
yes, Janet Collins is in the
there's a
room.
lot of people in the
Well,
room with
hello,
us,
Janet.
How's
but
everybody doing?
Well,
that
I'm
needs to be
great.
brought up with that committee.
Rob
Good. And
sounds
I
good.
would just like to, I didn't hear the beginning of what you said, Desmond, but before you even got to the word Rob, I knew exactly what committee and who you were talking about.
But it's him.
Because I would just like to chime in that, I've spoken up about his leadership on that committee, and it is at times often as a dictatorship.
Okay.
And I've had a few run-ins with him about that, and so I would like to put a rubber stamp on that with you, Desmond.
Okay. I'm all for people. This is what I'm going to say though, Janet. The people in the Prospect Heights, they do a lot of offline caucusing.
Right.
And a lot of them, sometimes people have said that they do their caucusing over at the bar when they're bending their elbows. But wherever they're doing it, however they're doing it, they're discussing a lot of other things out of sight of us,
Exactly.
and they're spending more time. And I'm still, there's something that a personal conversation that Rob and I had a long time ago
But that's me.
about please let me finish speaking
We're gonna
to
make this one
Janet.
short with Rob though.
Huh?
We're gonna make this one short with Rob. Go ahead.
Well, okay, Janet, can I call you up after the meeting and we can talk about this?
But Desmond, again,
Sure.
what they doing is totally legit.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm asking
Desmond,
Janet's
Desmond, we
permission
spoke on this several times.
to speak to her offline. That's all. I mean, I have to
Yeah.
ask her, will she be available? And if she says yes, then we can agree to talk later.
Yes, but I also have to say that um, running a committee with a dictatorship attitude is not legit.
Okay.
And being rude to people is not legit. Okay, so.
I haven't found him to be rude. What I found him is to be
Well, I've
controlling.
seen him rude. He's rude. And I
Okay.
told him to his face, and I'll tell anybody. I don't care.
So, let me just make sure that I have your proper number. And I'm not even sure that do you,
Well, there's no way to, you're not going to say it over the air. So,
exactly.
so
Mr.
Well,
You can
hold
you
on.
can message her
Mark
directly.
has my number.
Okay, well, let me just look and see if I have it in my phone from sometime in the past. Come on.
So we've spoken. We were speaking about the rat subcommittee. So
Right.
you might still have it.
It's not in my phone, and I don't know where it would be after that.
You have my email address.
I have JAC_KME at
Well, you're not
YU.
supposed to tell that either over the air.
Mr. Atkins, if you have function of the chat button, you can message her directly with each other's
Hi.
phone number. Same thing
Who's
for
that,
you, Ms.
Marva?
Collins. Just
Yeah,
to
but we don't have
give.
chats anymore. Oh, do we? Oh, we have a chat on
Yes,
this
you do.
committee.
Yes, you
Oh.
do. All the committees have chats. There's no chat in the general meetings.
Ah,
Well, oh, so all the committees now have chats back,
Yes.
even land use and.
I've seen that the health committee, I've seen it's here at the public safety committee. It's usually available in the committees because they're smaller audiences. They're not usually available in the general meeting because they're larger audiences and people have side meetings in those.
Have you, did you know, Tamika, though, that Ursa stopped the chats for land use and for,
yes.
I think, liquor licensing? Has she reinstalled that? Those
Because
chats?
they were having sidebar meetings during the meeting.
That's
So
right.
you can't
No, I
get
know
people to have
why. I'm just
function.
saying, do you know that those two committees don't, or do they still have chat?
I know the liquor authority meeting does have a chat.
Oh,
Ladies,
so they put it back. Okay.
ladies,
Okay.
it's after
Yes.
6:15, and I noticed that I see the ranking officers from the 77th present. Mark?
Yeah, I apologize, guys. I had to get on my phone. My computer is acting up. I gotta put in a complaint to this internet company.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Janet. I heard you on the
Mark.
call. Hi, Dorothy.
Oh,
Jennifer, how you doing? Are both you guys on here?
yes.
All right. Hi, Kim. I see that you was driving.
Hello, everyone.
Lisa, good day.
Good evening, everybody.
Marva, are you there also?
Who's there?
Yep,
I
I'm
saw her.
here. Good evening, everyone.
Princess?
Good evening, everyone.
All right. Tamika? Thank you,
I'm
Tamika.
here. Hello, Mark and
Desmond?
everyone else.
Yes.
All right. I apologize, guys. With my phone, I'm not able to see everybody on the meeting, but we'll go with what we have though. And
Good.
thank you, Desmond. And we have the 77 with us, and
Definitely.
Polanco is here with us, and who else we have?
Officer Vidal.
Okay, how you guys doing?
Good evening, everybody.
All right. Yep.
Good evening. I know last time I spoke, it was before the summertime, so just hopefully everybody had a good summer. Like I said, I have Officer Vidal here with me, who So I'll just get started. Overall, we had a slight increase for the 28-day period with 101 crimes this year versus 91 last year. In the period, we had 3 homicides compared to 2 last year. One of those homicides was a domestic incident with a mother-son. An arrest was made in regards to it. We also had the 17-year-old girl on Eastern Parkway. I'm sure everyone heard about that. Just want to thank everybody for the support of the family, and everybody that did help out. It's an awful tragedy. We also had a stabbing homicide on Franklin Avenue. The 17-year-old and the stabbing, I can't speak too much about it. It's still an ongoing investigation, but the detectives are working on it. They are doing a great job at it. They're still continuing on it, and they're just getting closer and closer to making an apprehension with that. As far as spikes in crime, the significant spikes that I did notice was a 44% in grand larcenies and a 44% in grand larceny autos. When I took a deeper look into it, I noticed that most of them were like e-bikes, motorcycles, mopeds, and like bicycles. Most of those were unattended. So, I just want to try to put a message out there. Just make sure that any property that, make sure you have secure the property, make sure it's not left unattended. It shouldn't be the responsibility of the victim. It's just try to have precaution just to make sure it's not left out there, make sure you don't give somebody an opportunity to go ahead and take it. But that is what we noticed. We had 1 vehicular fatality on Eastern and Schenectady yesterday. It was a pedestrian that was standing in the center medium in the zebra stripes on Eastern Parkway, and the vehicle drove on that center medium and struck the pedestrian. There was an arrest made on that. And that's all I have for this period. Have Officer Vidal here.
Hey, how you doing, folks? Officer Vidal, Crime Prevention Officer here at the 77 Precinct. I want to first start off by saying Happy Diwali to anybody that's celebrating. That's the Hindu Festival of Lights, for those that don't know. And I want to wish everybody Happy Diwali. I want to also touch base on what Lieutenant Polanco was mentioning. I want to thank, and I'm actually very proud of the students at Explore Empower Charter School. I don't know if you guys know, but they actually had a walkout on the 18th and a march against gun violence. And these young kids actually came out on the school and actually marched onto Rochester Avenue, went all the way up to Eastern Parkway, had words there at Eastern Parkway. They had a stop on Sterling, also in Rochester. They marched back to the school, and they had some poems when they got back at the schoolyard, and some stories that they had with these kids that were touched and affected by gun violence. And I got to be honest with you, I was holding back tears. And you see these kids, and you didn't see a dry eye among them, and how gun violence is affecting our children. So I'm very proud of them, and I do want to just start out by saying that, and thank you for, we had some leaders of the community also show up and help out with that march. So thank you all for that. I do also have, I wanted to touch base on something that's also affecting our children. We haven't seen it here in the 77 precinct, but there has been an increase on the federal level. The FBI have received an increase in the reports of sextortion. So what's sextortion? It's a combination of 2 words, sex and extortion. And what happens is when an adult impersonates a child online, either in an app, a gaming system, anywhere they can communicate, and basically pass themselves as another child and convince a child under 18 years of age to actually share explicit photos of themselves online. So there has been an increase of this. And the shame and guilt that these kids feel make it very difficult for them to actually ask for help in regards to this. So the days of where you had one computer in the house and it was in the living room and you knew that, you got your AOL disk from the mail and they logged on there, you hear that noise and you can monitor them and see what they're actually doing online, those days are over. So you got to be really on top of your kids. They're in the palm of their hands. They have the power of a whole computer that takes photos and they can share anything on there. So we have to really be on top of them. And you want to extend a little privacy, but every once in a while, take a peek and see what they're sharing. Go through their photos a little bit. It's okay to be nosy. You're their parents. There's nothing wrong with that. Also, I don't know if any of you guys are aware, but this morning in St. Louis, there was an active shooter situation at the Central Vision of Performing Arts High School. From the last report I read, there were 6 people hurt and 3 people that died inside the high school. The reason I bring this up is because I want to share some information that there's actually a webinar that the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Agency is having on November 9th at 2 p.m. So in this webinar, they're going to touch on active shooters. So this webinar is dedicated, and the participants that they want on here are like private organizations, public organizations, supervisors, first responders, human resource managers, community response officials, health organizations, faith-based leaders, school administrators, security officers, and this is what the information that they're going to be sharing is to be guided towards these individuals. And they're going to give information on how to plan for, how to recognize, and how to minimize any type of injuries with an active shooter situation. So I'm going to email this to you, Mark, that way you can share it onto with everybody on here. The webinar is going to be on November 9th at 2 p.m. It's a 2-hour webinar, and you have to register. They're limited to 1,000 participants. Okay, and this is for the for Region 2, which is actually New Jersey, New York, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So this is what they're setting this up for. Also, there's some events that are happening in the 7-7, within the 7-7, not that we're part of. There are that we're not organizing. There's actually some block parties and some parties that are happening. Saturday, October 29th, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in Broward Park. They're gonna have a doggone Halloween. So if you want to dress up your dog and parade them around the park, that's going to be October 29th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Broward Park. Also on that same day from 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Dean Street between Underhill and Washington Avenue is going to be a Halloween Family Fun Day. And on the 30th, Sunday the 30th, it's going to be a Franklin Avenue Block Party, which is going to be at Dean Street between Franklin Avenue and Bedford Avenue. And I think that's all I got for you guys. You guys have any questions?
Can you say the date again for the Washington Avenue Fun Day and the time? Because I know it's the 29th, but what's the time?
Okay, so the Halloween Family Fun Day is 12 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that's Dean Street between Underhill Avenue and Washington Avenue. And I gave you a lot of information. You have any questions?
Yeah, you could definitely send it out to me. And does it have a click on? Does it have a click on link that you can go straight to register?
Yeah, there's going to be a link on there on the on the flyer that I registered, that I'm going to send you, is going to have the website where you can go and log on, and with a link to register.
With this active shooter, it's a capacity of 1,000, and it's quite a large region that they're doing. I mean, did they consider doing more than one seminar on this?
This is not an NYPD. It was not organized by the NYPD. Like I said, it's organized by the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Agency, which is a federal agency.
We should see if we can get them to speak at one of our meetings, Mark. I can look into contacting them and see if they can do one for Community Board 8.
Thank you, Marva. That would be great.
And so I put a question in the chat. The vehicular homicide on Schenectady and Eastern Parkway, are you able to release the decedent's name?
So we can't release the name on that. We have to get authorization.
Okay.
So we won't be able to release that. All I know, it's approximately 6:30 p.m. That's all I have.
Okay.
What I'll do,
6:30 p.m. on what day? Sorry.
That was yesterday.
Okay.
Was that the same location that they had another vehicle homicide about 2 months ago?
It was on Eastern Parkway. I'm not sure if it was also on Schenectady, though.
Okay. Yeah, that's where it was. That a panhandler situation on that area?
On the one yesterday?
Yes.
That one, I don't have that information. I do know that there was somebody standing in the middle and they were struck. I don't know as far as they were panhandling or not, but I don't have that information.
Okay, because yeah, that is a concern, because I'm not sure if anyone else noticed it, but while I'm driving through there, I do see people in that middle there, dark at times, daytime and nighttime. So it is a little concern over there. But
well, 6:30 is dark now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you shouldn't be crossing that line anyway. Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Oh, I mean, I had a question. Sorry.
Yes.
In terms of the other homicides in the precinct, I know you said one was a mother-son DV incident. Was there an arrest in the other incident of the 17-year-old girl who was killed?
No, there's no arrest on that, but detectives are currently still working on that case.
Okay.
There's still an ongoing investigation on that. They are getting closer, but there hasn't been an arrest made yet.
Okay. Desmond had brought this question up years ago, and in reference to unsolved cases in the 77th precinct, the murder unsolved or solved. With the detective units, do they have is it made public of the arrests that they have? I mean, sometimes it's not fully prosecuted, but do they have information for the public safety that over the last 3 or 4 years, the murders that we have and the arrests that's been made?
We can't provide that information. That's all information has to go through the Deputy Commissioner of Public Information. They're the ones that would be able to release any information on that. We're not authorized to speak on any arrests or anything like that, or any details of a case.
Okay, but it is public information. I mean, that they do have.
There has to be a request made with the Deputy Commissioner of Public Information, and they'll decide whether they're going to release that information or not. But we can't release that information.
Okay.
May I ask a question, Mark?
Yes, Desmond.
I know that within the precinct, there are 3 noticeable homicides: Benny Lyde, Chanel Petra Nixon, and that's really the 2 that I know that were publicized. Oh, and a woman on my block who was murdered, and that was publicized after the case went to trial and there was a conviction. A long time ago, there was the precinct would release when the person who had been apprehended and indicted, when their trial was going to occur. Does anybody do that anymore?
That's
make the community aware when people who are being tried for felony assaults and murders, when their trials are being held.
That's not information that's released by the precinct. That's information that's released by DCPI, by Deputy Commissioner of Public Information.
By who again?
Deputy Commissioner of Public Information. They're the ones that release information that goes to the media and stuff.
So if you're not, so if the media doesn't report it, and if you're not immediately aware of the family or the people close to the decedent or the person who's been assaulted, you won't know.
They have to investigate it. They have to make notifications to the family and all that. So it's a case-by-case basis. We can't release information until it's looked at and they get authorization to release information. Anything that's released to the media, it's something that they probably already have the family's permission and all that. But as far as any specific case, I can't just go ahead and give that information out. It has to be, like I said, it has to go through that unit.
But if the people adjudicating things and the police are successful by not releasing this, everybody has a very poor image of the efficacy of policing. I know that Chanel Petra Nixon, I knew the person who ended up being caught for doing that crime. And then, so with Benny Lyde, I don't know how they found him. The person who murdered him was found in Plattsburgh, New York. And Edward Hunt, his killer, still has never been brought to justice. And those are just 3 killings that I'm aware of. The young man who was slain earlier this year or last year on the block east of me, Bergen Street between Kingston and Albany, no one has said anything about that case. And I'm sure that there are plenty of other cases that have come up that have just slipped past memory.
So the cases, anything that it's newsworthy that anyone would be concerned and want to have information on, all that information does get sent from the precinct to the Deputy Commissioner of Public Information. They give this information to the news media, and news media pretty much they decide what they're gonna release. Us in the precinct level itself, we can't decide on releasing that information or what gets released. Like I said, anything that's getting released to the media, that's all done through that unit. We provide all that information to them. They provide it to the news outlets, and we have no control of what gets released and what doesn't. There have been times where we give that information, it just doesn't get released, but that's not something that's done from a precinct level.
Okay, but right now as it stands, unless it goes to the news media, then there's really no way for the people within the community to be notified when these people are going to trial.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's correct.
Well, you could reach out to the district attorney's office.
On a case-by-case basis. What if the district attorney was able to say that within the orange zone, the 77th precinct, these are the cases that are going to trial within a certain time period? They have a docket.
Yeah, they have a list.
And they have the ability to segment it. Why can't they provide that to the community? Why can't they provide that to the precinct council and to the community board committee? Those are 2 groups that are immediately interested in that kind of information.
Well, I think that's a request we can make to the DA's office, because they do come to our meetings. If that's a concern, saying we want to know what litigation is happening from cases that stem out of the 77th precinct, we could do that.
That's
honestly, realistically, I don't think the police don't necessarily track everything that's going to trial in cases penned for many years before they actually go to trial.
Exactly, so. I agree.
Yeah, so it would be a list from whatever zone covers the 77th precinct, and I try not to take any cases from the 77th precinct,
I
so
understand.
you know, but you could reach out to the DA's office and get that information.
I'm sorry, Desmond, are you saying that this was a request that was made by the board or yourself or
No,
someone
no,
else? Oh, okay.
no. I'm not
Okay.
saying that the board made the request. I'm saying
Oh,
that
okay.
more than a decade ago, for 2 months, when persons who had been indicted and were going to trial at committee meetings, it was announced that the trial was coming.
Okay.
And then as soon as it started, it got stopped. Okay?
Okay.
So I know that whenever it involves deadly force or a really bad assault, a lot of people are very prickly about those kind of things, but everybody wants to know what's being done and who is involved with the actual infliction of pain and suffering on the community.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, to be realistic, I think there's multiple public policy issues that have come up with releasing the names of people who are arrested pending prosecution, pending trial, right? Because an arrest is not a conviction, right? So you have we have a public interest in knowing who's been convicted of a crime, but to say that someone's accused and putting their name out there, their pictures out there, there's so many public policies and laws against that because it's innocent until proven guilty. Now, if you're
Exactly.
saying you want to go to the public trial of a person, fine, but that's different from putting out a list for public consumption because it is very prejudicial and possibly prejudicing a jury pool, right? Because jurors are not supposed to know background ideally about cases and things like that, only what's legally admissible. So what you're talking about could taint jury pools, and we already don't have enough jurors in Brooklyn. So I think there's so many public policy reasons why those lists and things like that don't happen.
Thank you for that question. Thank you for that. Thank you for that update on that. Very much, Marva, your legal information is extremely important. We have any other questions, concerns?
Mark,
Yes, I do.
may
I have
ask
my
a
I
question?
have my hand up. Janet.
Guys, yeah, Janet, yeah, okay, I'm working my phone, so I see your hand up now. Yes, Janet.
Okay, hi everybody. I was first of all, I was thinking about asking something else, but Marva, you made a statement. I just wanted clarity that you can't put the names of people who have been arrested out because of privacy. But how does that differ from when the news does that, and their name and faces all over the news?
Well, news media putting out, they say allegations, right? It's a different right? It's different than a law enforcement agency or a government entity putting it out. And again, I think as Lieutenant Polanco said, if a reporter gets out there, speaks to people in the community and is getting information that way, that's a different concept than the government agencies putting it out.
If the government agency was to say allegedly, wouldn't that be correct? Okay.
It's still prejudicial. If a police officer says something, it's different than an individual person saying something, right? It's said with authority and given more value.
Like when the DA gets on TV and says that's authority.
Exactly. So that's why they don't do it.
But they do. DAs get on TV and talk about people who've been arrested, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yes.
Okay.
In situations, right? And in publicity, high profile cases, I think there's a lot of decision making that goes in, and which is what the officers on the line are saying. It goes through the Deputy Commissioner of Public Information because they have to weigh the risk of putting information out there that can be false, right? They can be sued and things like that. So they might not want to put everyone, every case information out there. But when you see district attorney with a table full of guns and drugs and money that they've seized with search warrants and months of investigation, and checks and balances put in place by the court before this police action was taken, right? There's a lot that's gone into it already. So there's a level of surety that they have when they're releasing this information.
Well, I've seen DAs without all that gun stuff, and paraphernalia, just to say it. But anyway, I just wanted to make that point. And then the other point I wanted to ask was when Desmond was listing those murders that he hadn't heard anything about. I'm just curious. It just popped into my head. Do you all remember the young lady whose body was cut up and put in a trunk over on Sterling and Kingston somewhere? Hello, I think you're muted.
What year was that?
Oh gosh, that was certainly more than 5 years ago.
Janet?
Over 10 years ago, I believe you're referring to Miss Nixon, I believe.
Huh?
Chanel Petra Nixon.
Yeah.
Chanel
Was
Petra
that her
Nixon.
name?
Chanel
Oh.
Petra Nixon. Baron Primus was the person who eventually was found to have been the perpetrator of that
Oh,
crime.
they found the person. Oh, okay.
Oh, I see. You weren't aware.
No, I wasn't. No.
Okay, Baron Primus was arrested for minor sex crimes, served times in the New York State system, and then when he was released, he was deported. He was deported back to the island where his grandmother lived. When he got there, he is alleged to, or I don't know if he's been convicted of, have murdered a young white travel agent. And before that happened, the only reason they caught him was because there was a young lady found in sexual bondage and kidnapped in a shed in his grandmother's property. And then that's what precipitated him being finally caught for the young travel agent and also for Chanel Petra Nixon. Because when the girl begged for her freedom and her life, he took out newspaper clippings of Chanel Petra Nixon and placed it on the table. And that's the way that they caught him for that. He basically admitted to her that he had murdered Chanel Petra Nixon.
Oh, okay. When did that happen? What year?
I don't remember the years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Desmond, for that. Any more questions? We had some stuff that came up. I'm sorry.
Mark, I would like to ask a question about something I found on the street.
Yes.
Okay, let me unmute my camera. Yeah, I'm talking about, I found this, hold on. I found this this says Flower Power, but it's a marijuana container and it has when I thought of it, I thought it was some child dropped their toy on the street, but it's a packaging for marijuana. I don't know, officers, if you know. I really thought it was a child's toy when I see the Mario, but this is the new packages for marijuana. I picked this up on the street. I don't know, officers, do you aware about the new packaging for marijuana? And this is what they're using now?
Yeah, we're aware.
Yes, we are aware of that. That's probably containing CBD products. Besides that, they have, a bunch of different ways that they package it. But yeah, we are aware of that as well.
But like I'm more concerned.
Edibles that they package like that. It seems like they're targeting children. I understand the issue that you're saying there. That we have no control over.
This was picked up around a daycare center. I was walking, and like I said, I really thought it was a child's toy when I saw it on the street, and that's the only reason why I picked it up. and it was sitting on my desk, and not long after, I think at the end of the day, I literally looked at it and realized it's a container, something, it's an envelope kind of what they put marijuana in. And my concern is that it has Mario, and that can attract children, because it attract me as an adult just by the picture of Mario in it.
What does it look like on the back?
It just says 21 plus, and it says cancer, and it give all the warning and different things. But the front that caught my eyes, and I'm an adult and I've never smoked, so think about children. So I kept it, and I said I need to ask about it at this meeting.
Princess.
I noticed. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just chime in on? I noticed that there are stores that are selling marijuana. Isn't it illegal to sell it? That now it's not time. I've seen some of these smoke shops. One in particular downtown. And folks just go in and come out with their bag in their hand. They're not even hiding it. Is it okay?
Actually, are licensed establishments presently in New York City that are allowed to sell marijuana. Yes.
Already that started?
Yes, there's a new agency. I forget the name of it. Something cannabis.
Over on Court Street?
Oversees and administers these licenses, and they have been licenses. You can actually go on their website and see what locations have licenses to sell marijuana at this time.
There's one in Sterling
one
between
on
Nostrand
Court?
and Bedford, between Nostrand and Rogers.
But,
I just passed there. There's a store just
what
opened.
Princess might be referring to are smoke shops that sell CBD products, not actual marijuana.
No, it said dispensary, and it said dispensary. It seems like it's a very new place.
What's the address?
It's on Sterling between Nostrand and Rogers. I was just coming down the road to go to the store around the corner when I saw it.
Between Nostrand and Rogers?
Not Sterling. Sorry, St. John's, because I was going to the Trinidadian place.
Oh.
And it's right there at the corner, and I'm like, okay. There was an Asian guy coming out, and I'm like, oh, I think it says BE, because I was so flabbergasted that I didn't even know a dispensary was in our neighborhood. Because he was just bringing in the sign. He had the sign at the corner of Nostrand and the block, and he was like closing up. So I was
St.
rushing.
John's between Nostrand and Rogers?
Yes.
Okay.
This one I saw was downtown, and I saw people coming out with their bags of marijuana.
But this said dispensary, and it has like, I think, uppercase B
Smoke
and
shop.
E in it. It's not a smoke shop. It said dispensary. Sorry.
No, the one I saw is a smoke shop. And then, you go to get the pipes and all that. And listening to the news is saying marijuana is not supposed to be sold yet until the end of the year. I was wondering what's going on. And then they had those trucks on the street that was selling the marijuana out in public, and they scooped them up. So it's kind of strange.
But officer, can I ask a question? And I think I brought this up to Mark recently. There's a spike in mental illness, and I don't know if anybody see the correlation between the drugs and mental illness. I would like to know, have they tested to see the quality of marijuana that is being dispersed in our community? Because there's too much as a person who works with people with mental illness, there's too much going on. I know one time when they had the K2, that was a problem. It was also with my students. Now I'm seeing so much crime, and most of it, I don't know if you guys realize, are connected to drugs. And now everybody is saying it's legal to smoke, and all the students, and I know they're not 21, is lighting up on the streets now.
On their way to school, I'm smelling them early in the morning.
School.
Yeah, with their backpacks.
Yes. So, and that needs to be addressed. And like, I don't know the quality, because I know when it was K2, there was mixed in nail polish, there was mixed in isotone, there was mixing a whole lot of things in that.
But that's
so
a
what
question
is being
you would have
mixed
to
in?
bring to the Office of Cannabis Management.
Pardon?
Office of Cannabis Management. They would
Okay.
be the ones that would oversee the distribution of marijuana and distribution of licenses to some marijuana.
Okay, I just want to know the quality and what it's, because it's too much going on in our streets. I know one young man threw a woman off the platform, and when they asked him why he did it, he said, "I just smoke a joint." And okay, I'm from a country where people smoke and have never seen nobody committed the kind of crime that I'm seeing that is equated to marijuana use right now. So I think I would write a letter and try to find out what is being used, what are they adding to this marijuana that is being dispersed and that is being sold in our community, that is causing what's happening.
Princess,
Is the Office of Cannabis Management a state office? Is that state?
Yes,
the New
it
York
is.
what we need to do in reference to that, next month is November, maybe January, or we should bring them to our meeting, not just them. We need to also bring the state elected officials, because they are involved with the laws that's going on in New York. So, I mean, this is an opportunity for us to, question them and see what they have going on, and also see what they learn from the other states. But Princess, you could definitely, if you could reach out to them, if you set up a contact, we can coordinate a meeting for them to come on through. Because
I'm gonna go right now when I get off of here because as you know, I shared it with you. It's a very concern of mine. It's a real big concern.
And Janet, the concern that you were mentioning and Princess is mentioning, you were saying is downtown. It's right on your front door. So it's right on our front door within the Community Board 8, and it's here.
I know that. I was really asking a question about the openness of the selling of the marijuana and the trucks and this particular store, but yet it's not supposed to be being sold now. Not yet. I don't, I'm confused about what the media, the information I'm receiving from the media about marijuana sales. I know it's legal. Last I heard, it wasn't supposed to be sold, yet until the end of the year or beginning of next year, like January. But yet they took those trucks off the street, because I even passed a few of them. They were out on the street, on the corner, at the curb selling the marijuana. And then I saw in the news that they gathered those trucks up and whatever they did. But people are so bold. I don't understand why. It's baffling to me. Do they not get in trouble if you sell marijuana because it's legal now? But it's just, you see people go in and come out with their little bags and they're rolling as they go down the street, a joint. There's no hiding.
I mean, it's legal. I mean, well, it matters how they're going to enforce it. Are they going to enforce it like an open bottle of beer? It matters what the elected officials, how they're going to enforce the law.
Well, I know it's legal. I know it's legal to smoke it, but what I understand is not legal to sell it. They haven't set up all the stations yet, as far as I'm concerned. I'm concerned that I know of. So I don't know if anybody can clarify that for me.
Well, let's.
The only one I know that's open, the medical marijuana places, like the one on Court Street, they've been in operation. But the recreational marijuana places, I didn't think was set up yet. And they're supposed to be state approved. But yet I see all these things out in public, and the trucks, the smoke shop, and they're selling the marijuana. So it's really confusing.
I mean, for recreational use, as you're aware, it is legal. As far as the sale, that's where I think you're a little more concerned about. I do know there is dispensaries and the shops that are licensed. As far as how they obtain the license or who they're able to sell to, I do know there's something with medicinal purpose. I don't know what the requirements is to obtain a license for that, but I'm sure before they were issued that license, they had some type of some requirements that they had to prove and all that. But as far as rolling or smoking, we really can't. If it's done out in a public place, we really can't enforce that. As far as the sale, like I said, there is the agency that oversees that Officer Vidal mentioned. That's the one that oversees that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I put something in the chat that is written at the back of the package.
Thank you, Princess. That is a concern about our youth, and not just the marijuana. If it's legal, it's legal. But the problem is that the issue of the marijuana that's dangerous to the mind, and that's a major concern. Thank you for that, Princess. We'll definitely follow through on that. That's one of our topics that we definitely want to get much more information on, because it is going to affect our community. What else we have going on? There was last week. There was some concerns on in Sector Boy over on Park Place. We don't want to go into specifics, but how's it going on that endeavor towards the 77th?
So we have officers that are aware of that. They are going to the location. They are checking up on it. Some of them do live there. So we really can't, unless they are doing anything besides just hanging out, we really can't do much besides that. But there is improvement as far as the hanging out. The ones that live there, if they bring guests, we really can't do anything with the guests that are hanging out there if somebody that lives there, is authorizing them to be there with them. But there is improvement. We are driving by and having a lot more presence at the location. We are checking to see if there is any quality of life as far as open containers or anything that we could enforce. If there isn't, we're at least showing ourselves, showing the presence to they're showing the presence, and we do have the neighborhood coordination officers that are working on it to see if maybe they could fully resolve the situation.
Okay. And also I'm concerned about these double park cars in I think Sector Charlie or Sector David, and trying to do some enforcement on that. Walden was mentioning possibly towing, but I mean, towing is like the last resort. I mean, because this issue has been going on for years. I mean, is there a way that they can just do like a consistent ticketing those cars on that strip, and and then that way?
Is this the location by the school?
By the park, yes.
Okay, because as far as that, we had officers that did speak to the school, so they could reach out to the parents and all that.
Oh, no, I don't think it's the school. It's
What location are you?
I think they didn't say specifically, but it's over by St. John's Recreation Center on the eastern side, where they have that block over there that they do a lot of the double park cars on.
We'll look into that. We'll, if it's something that is out there, we'll start writing summonses and we'll do a tow up on that. That's an operation. But thank you for bringing it to our attention. We are going to look into that.
Okay.
You said St. John's, right? St. John's between like Schenectady and Troy around there?
No, I think he's talking about Prospect Place. and
Oh,
St.
Prospect.
Mark's between Schenectady and Utica.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's
Alright.
but there's also massive double parking coming out of the 73rd on Sterling Place. The moment you, especially after you cross Ralph Avenue, from there almost down to Albany Avenue, there is chronic double parking. The other day I was driving coming down there, and when you got to Utica, there was a bus trying to go down the block and could not get past. There was a utility truck from somebody, I guess they were having their oil burner serviced, and another car double parked. And the way they were parked at the mouth of the block, just off of Utica, the bus could barely get by. It took a while with people barely moving for the bus to finally be able to get by. But I'm saying from Ralph Avenue all the way down to like Troy or Albany, there's there's chronic double parking always on the mainly the southern side of the street. And I noticed this going back to the end of August. And since then, every time I've come down that block, it's the same thing, regardless of time of day.
This is on Sterling that you're referring to, right?
Sterling,
Mostly.
from the eastern end of the precinct,
So,
Ralph Avenue, all the way down, coming down.
so in regards to that, we have done operations with NYPD traffic agents. We have written multiple summonses in regards to it. We have them do tow operations. You know, if it's still continuing, but it is a work in progress. We are working on it. We have written summonses already in the past, so we're still working on that.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
we are aware of it. Like I said, we have already started taking enforcement on it, and hopefully it's just a matter of time where someone gets written a summons and they're gonna not do it anymore. You know, unfortunately, it's, you know, some streets parking is really tough. I understand, you know, it's happening, but you know, it is a concern, especially when you have emergency vehicles that need to get through and buses and all that. So we are taking enforcement action, and we're just hopefully eventually we'll be able to resolve that.
Well, I'm glad you pointed that out, because that's the one thing since Vision Zero started that I was always trying to put my finger on, was the fact that by narrowing making them all the roads single lane and making the parking areas much wider, when the streets used to be a tolerable double lane, you basically impeded the service vehicles, safety vehicles, police, fire, and EMS to be able to get up and down the streets quickly when necessary. And this was brought up at the community board transportation meeting also.
Yeah, I
It
was
was pointed out at the last community board meeting as also a safety issue, not just transportation, because we had DOT come and they've made the area west of Washington Avenue a slow zone, and it's pushed all the traffic to the eastern side of Washington Avenue. So at certain times of day, you can't go southbound from Washington Avenue through Utica. The streets are basically impassable. But nobody took notice of that when the people were requesting a slow zone on the western side of Washington Avenue. And we had DOT in the meeting, and when I pointed out the fact that I observed people driving on Washington Avenue, a two-lane, one-way street, getting so frustrated that they would drive the wrong way going south. They would go into the northbound lane, drive south for a block at high speed to get out of a traffic standstill, because they had sat there for 3 lights and there had been no motion, no movement. And I'm surprised that the highway person hasn't reported that, because you've got the fire department, you've got a funeral parlor, you've got a public school, you've got a middle school within 2-3 blocks, and a center for people for recovery. And then if you go a little bit further, you have another public school 2 blocks further north. So you have all these clusters and you have all these high density buildings, but nobody's making a note, it doesn't appear to be, about the fact that there's been a problem created in the community, and particularly for safety vehicles.
As far as infrastructure on the roads and how they designate the roads, as far as bike lanes and the lanes, different lanes itself, that's all stuff that are overseen by the Department of Transportation.
Transportation. But don't
no.
they have to handshake with one PP on that?
So we could make recommendations if we see that there's a hazard. We could make recommendations, but overall, they're the ones that oversee the infrastructure on the roads. It wouldn't be the police department.
Okay, so what happens when people institute open streets, close streets off entirely, and make it their basically like their closed community within a community, and then all the traffic is shunted off into other parts of the community, and it creates a hazardous and a nerve-wracking nightmare for the people living in one section, and the other people are basically they're treating the streets as their living room. Everybody wants to make New York City like Europe, but even who is it? Rescue 2 before they moved into Community Board 16, which is Sterling Place going up towards Eastern Parkway. The firefighters from that unit said that the way Vision Zero was being done was ill thought out. This is from conversations with the people who work there. The same way how you as a trooper are not allowed to comment about things that you see officially, you can't say anything. Well,
I mean, with the transportation, that has to be taken up with the transportation committee. I mean, with that portion on that.
The transportation committee, the city council persons,
yes,
the 1 PP, and the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. All these things are affected.
I agree with you, but the first one is DOT that needs to be that has to address that concern, because they are the one that's mapping out the plans for New York with the transportation.
It seems to me that certain communities get what they want at the expense of others all the time.
Yeah, that's not with this committee though. That will have to be taken up with the transportation committee.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you.
We had foot patrol. They were saying that there was an increase in foot patrol. How is that? How's that coming along? And do we have consistency with the foot patrol? Am I still here?
Yes, we hear you, Mark.
Okay. 577.
Yes.
With the foot patrols, last month they said that we was going to get some additional foot patrols within the 77. How's that been working out? And do we have consistency on that?
Every other week. As of right now, we have foot patrol on Nostrand Avenue. We get them every other week, the additional resources. They do get moved around depending on crimes. If there's a spike in crime in another precinct, they'll move them to that location. But as of right now, we've been getting them every other week on Nostrand Avenue. So that's the consistency. That's the consistency that we have so far.
Okay. All right. Okay. I mean, from what the chief was saying, that it was like they were going to be doing more of a consistent foot patrol, not every other week or 2 times a month.
Worldwide. This So they're borough-wide, so they get mobilized depending on if there's a spike in crime in other location. They're gonna flood that area, that zone, and pretty much they'll be mobilizing them zone to zone. So it really depends on any spikes in crime, depending on the location and all that. So as of right now, that is what we have. You know, we can't predict the future as far as if there's going to be spikes somewhere else, but we do have them as of right now on Nostrand Avenue.
Okay, I understand that. I mean, it's not your call, but from crime prevention, consistency is extremely important. I mean, because, you know, once the spike goes up and then it, you know, and it goes back down, or not, it doesn't even go down. It doesn't go back up. And whatever you had to try to prevent it, if that's gone, it just comes back again. But you know, we'll bring that up to the chief. Hopefully there's another meeting with the chief and give our concerns on that, and hopefully they can address it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we would love to have them consistently and more often, but you know, that's outside of our call. So.
Okay. I'm going to run down the line just to make sure if anyone else has any other questions. I'm going to start off with you, Lisa. Lisa?
No, I don't have any questions tonight.
Okay. Hopefully we'll have PSA 2 at the next meeting. Roger, thanks for joining. Roger, you have anything? Okay. If you can unmute, just unmute. Well, I'll go on. Princess?
I'm good. Thanks.
Okay. Marva? Thank you for hanging on over here with us, Marva.
I don't have anything else.
Kim? You still traveling with the kids? With the kid?
All three, but we're home. We're walking now back to the house. Yeah.
Okay. Jennifer?
Nothing so far.
Okay, how's it going over by your area?
Pretty quiet. Quiet.
That's very good. I mean, you know, you're right off of Utica. You know, we having that Chipotle move opening up at your corner.
Yeah. You can check and see what's up, especially the trash.
Party at Chipotle. Let's have our next meeting there. I'm so happy. Chipotle in Crown Heights.
Yes, it is. But yeah, definitely keep your eyes open on them. If there's concerns, bring it up, because we need eyes and ears on all section of Community Board 8.
Yep.
Who said put Chipotle at Crown Heights?
Yeah. I don't know.
Marva, you said that?
I love Chipotle.
Be careful. Remember when they talk about the coffee shop when it comes to Crown Heights, what happens?
A coffee shop?
Refresh our memory.
What a coffee shop name again? That
Starbucks?
Oh, Starbucks.
Starbucks. Be careful.
Well, hopefully the other businesses will compete with that Chipotle.
We'll see how long it stays open. I mean, that location has had all the urgent cares and that have closed back to back. So we'll see how long it actually stays open.
Yep. Janet? Janet, you have?
Yes, hello.
Yes.
Hi. Can you give me a minute?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll come back around to you, okay?
Thank you.
Fran?
Hi. The only thing I have to say is that Nostrand between Park Place and Sterling, we're getting ready for a waffle shop, a waffle restaurant. And
I'm excited by that one too.
And on St. Mark's and Nostrand, it's a Black-owned bodega owner now. So, and it's nice in there. It's very nice. He's very pleasant. It's really nice.
Okay. Thanks for that, Fran. I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Yeah, it's right there on the corner, right across the street from what is it, Bluefin?
Mark, I can meet you there. Let me know the time.
Okay.
Yeah, the gentleman is very nice, very polite. You don't have none of the young guys hanging in front of there, nothing. He's very nice.
Okay. All right. Ms. Langley, thanks for joining.
Thank you, but I'm okay. No questions.
All right. Thank you for everything that you've been doing. Fior, how you doing, Fior?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I don't have any questions. I just want to wish and hope Crown Heights has a safe and happy Halloween. And thank you for promoting the events around town. And I certainly hope that people do come out to the doggone Halloween parade, which is co-sponsored with Friends of Brow Park and Crown Heights North, among others. So thank you.
And I'll be bringing my cat on a leash in a costume.
No, you're not, Marva.
Yes, I will.
You go, girl. You're looking for trouble.
So can I bring my bird?
I think I would bring my cat too.
Can I bring my
I was
bird
gonna
then?
make
Is that
him mince meat.
Well, I'm going to keep my cat at home. Dorothy, how you doing? Dorothy, you with us? Thank you for joining. Desmond. Desmond, you got anything?
No, I said more than enough. I wish that, well, I hope all these new commercial places that it's monitored by our precincts, and so that if anybody has an idea about creating some kind of shakedown racket, that they're on top of it, because that hurts a lot of businesses. Not what you see up front, but what's happening on the background.
Hopefully that doesn't happen. It doesn't develop, or if it did, hopefully it stops. But definitely we don't need that. And those vendors, they really can't afford that also.
Oh, I did have something else. I know sometimes in our public safety meetings, people talk about packages being stolen, but I was walking, where was I? I parked downtown by Court, and they have these metal, and I think it's like the private homeowner bought it, but it's like a big personal mailbox, and it says, UPS, FedEx, put the packages in here, and it's like the size of a file cabinet, but I guess you can drop the box in and keep your packages locked up outside of your home until you get home. So I took a picture of it. If anyone wants to see it, I'll email it to the group.
Thank you. Thanks for that, Mother. Lisa, Janet, back over to you. I know you had to step away, but Janet, I'm glad to have you back. I missed you last month. I gave you a shout out. Just wanted to make sure that you're all right. Dorothy, you're back? No? All right. I think we're good. 77. Anything else?
No, I'm here. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to take care of two pieces of business. That's very good to be back, and I want to thank the officers for doing such a great job in our community, and I also want to thank everybody else on the committee for doing such a great job and keeping everybody's nose to the grindstone, so to speak. And I'm sorry I missed September's meeting, but I'll be more vigilant now going forward. So I want everybody to be safe. Have a good evening. Thank you.
I want to give a big shout out to the 77 also on Nostrand Avenue Merchants Association has Cancer Walk down Nostrand Avenue. That was last Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Last Saturday before. We had a really nice turnout. Had it was the first time it was being done. Association came together, and with the support of the church on Nostrand and also 77 Precinct, and it was the first time they did it, and I'm very happy that they came together and did that. and with the support of 77. Thank you very much for that, guys. And I think that's about. Anything else, anyone?
Mark, this is Roger.
Yeah.
There is a wine shack that has opened on Nostrand between Park Place and Sterling at 701 Nostrand Avenue, which used to be the old Punchline spot. And they're opposite of the upcoming chicken and waffle that's about to open in maybe some months. I'm not sure. It's under construction now. And I heard that was also going to be Black owned. So we'll see what happens. The corner store that's mentioned earlier on St. Mark's and Nostrand used to be Black owned when I was, and he supported the neighborhood, gave back, put me in a basketball tournament with the youth from the neighborhood, the preteen tournament that's still going on to this day. So that young man would like to hopefully do more community related things, and I've spoken to him. So the more people know that it is owned, they're going and attending and purchasing and so forth. So we'll see what happens as time goes on as far as, safety and things of that nature.
All right. Thank you. Thanks.
Excuse me, Roger, can you repeat what you said regarding the chicken and waffle place?
Oh, there's a sign where there was an Asian restaurant there. I didn't even know it had closed, and a sign is up now for chicken and waffles. So the sign is already up, and it's actually facing a newly opened chicken small restaurant that used to be the old Punchline juice spot. So
Okay, what is it? Is Wing Shack. That's what you're talking about. It's called Wing Shack.
One side, on the left side, as you get with the traffic, 704 Stream.
Yeah,
And
it's called Wing Shack.
Right. And right across the street, there's a sign for the Brooklyn Chicken and Waffle.
Chicken and waffles, yes. It was all on Facebook.
Right, exactly. So I had saw the sign because someone pointed it out after Crow Hill changed their sign to Thornhill. So these are the things that people are making themselves more aware of, attending more community board meetings, etc. So it's really about seeing how long these businesses can last and the support, and bringing more people over to Nostrand Avenue to purchase food, since we have a lot of restaurants and a lot of food, which we've always had on Nostrand Avenue.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that, Roger. In reference to that, also, we have another organization. Geez, made me forget them. That's doing a survey for the Community Board 8. Fior, what's that? Bridge Street, right?
Yes, the Bridge Street Development Corp.
Be doing a owner survey, the vendor survey, and also a consumer survey. So once they send that information out, we'll definitely give it out to everyone over here, and also all the residents in the community. It's important for us to all give that information. I think they're going to Utica Avenue, or they're going past Utica Avenue for the commercial strip. Do you recall, PR?
I'm not sure. I think right now the focus may be on Nostrand, but if it's not going to Kingston and Utica, that's definitely in the very near future.
Okay.
Yeah, Kingston is part of it.
It's part of it. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes, I think it covers four commercial strips. That is Franklin, Nostrand, Kingston, and Utica. So once that information comes out, we definitely need to participate. And once we get that information, it's extremely important for us to share it, What Roger was saying about bringing people out, public safety is extremely important. We need our community to be safe, where the residents feel comfortable to coming out and spending money, because spending money within our community is extremely important. Putting pressure on our elected officials, make sure that the police is doing what's needed to be done, and also we as a community needs to be done, and also supporting our merchants to bring in them, keep the money here, increasing our economy, increasing our education, and making our community much better. Because we have so much potentials here, and we can definitely, all the way from the east going over to the west, that spread the wealth to everyone. Anything else, anyone? Nope. All right, we're gonna call it a day. 7-7. Thank you very much for participating, and Vidal, I got that information. I'll send it out to community board, and I'll send it out to our committee. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a good one,
Thank
everyone.
you. Have a good evening.
Night,
Hope to see everybody on the
Everyone.
Right.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night.
Under 360. Yes, you know how you do it when you pull up that person's name